Hello there, you beautiful people. My name is Willow's Duality, and welcome back to Supreme Commander Forged Alliance Forever. Today, we are going to be doing a replay review of a good friend of mine. His name is Testing Testy, or otherwise known as the Duelist. A man, a myth, and a duelist. He is, of course, going to be rocking Cybran, and we are on the map Diversity. And if you would like me to review your replay, all you have to do is join the channel membership or the Patreon, and you have access to a replay review every single month. With my shill out of the way, like and subscribe, and let's start talking about the Duelist and the game he's going to be playing right now. The main things we try and focus on here with the replay review is to help you make better decisions, because as far as things like, oh, well, you should have just been faster, that's gonna be a little bit difficult, because APM, of course, is limited. I want to help you all have the most efficient APM. And APM being limited, on full display here, as the Duelist's first engineer is idle for the entire build duration of the second engineer, and then some. Oh my word, that was a lot of idle time. So you should be paying most attention to your engineers for the first about 4 to 5 engineers. They're very, very important. And I know the Duelist knows this, and I know personally that the Duelist hasn't been playing FAF as much as he'd like to recently. So this could just be a few signs of rust, but things to avoid are definitely idle engineers in the first 10 minutes. You shouldn't have a single idle engineer in the first 10 minutes, and after that, having idle engineers still is kind of bad. At least have them reclaim or move to the map or assist something. Engineers are so useful, and you want every single one you build to do something to help you. He has 2 engineers building power. He's going to be up to 4 P-gens without getting a second factory. Does he start the next oh no, he's going 5 P-gens. He's going factory, P-gen, 4 mechs into... Huh. I don't know. I'm not sure how I feel about this build. I feel he's going to overflow power very early on. He has more power queued up. You don't need it yet. In fact, you're having trouble spending your mass, and I can see how building power with the mass would be an enticing idea, but you're already up to 140 power a second. You can support multiple factories, including an air factory. Feels like he's building a lot of power. So much so that even though he shouldn't be, he's getting close to a power stall right now. He also has some reclaim going on, and his is moving to the middle. Overall, I think right now the best way for him to spend his mass is, of course, getting up new factories. The second best idea would be maybe get a mechs upgrading, but getting mechs' upgrade to avoid a stall or overflowing is generally just kind of a bad idea, because usually when you do that, you have something already. You're already building a factory that's going to use mass, and it's not going to be super efficient. He does start a T2 mechs as well. I don't know if I like the call now that he's committing to building 2 factories at a time. He's gonna mass stall unless this finishes at the most opportune time, and that's gonna be a mass stall right there. I would pause the mechs upgrade. Sure, you would still be in a very minor mass stall, and I would pause all of these engineers building lines of power. You do not need this much power this early on. He's already getting up to 300 power once this P-gen finishes. You can pretty safely get to the Tech 2 phase of the game with 300 power a second, as long as you get a T2 power pretty quickly after getting T3, or T2 land. Over here in the middle, he tried to push out to the middle to this hydrocarbon and mass extractor point with the reclaim available. He didn't manage to get there in time. Long shot getting there first. He has his ally behind you, but he has his comm in the front, and he realizes he cannot get there. He realizes he lost the race there and just cedes the position. He abdicates and falls back. Hot Soup showing up to try and harass the comm as well, but that's not going to work. He doesn't really have any units coming out. He does have a little bit over 1,000 reclaim, 1,100 reclaim. He's doing okay on that. But overall, he doesn't have a lot of units coming out, and he didn't really rush any eco. I really think building power here is a mistake. And I suffer from this mistake too. I build too much power as well. I've been trying to fix it in recent games, but at this point, he's overbuilt power by a lot. He's spent a ton of mass on power that could have been thrown into literally anything else, and now he's behind on unit spam, and he's kind of just behind on eco as well. Like, Hot Soup right now has both a stronger economy with 2 more mass a second, and more units on the field. And it's only 5 minutes in, but like this gets significant. This separates lower level players from higher level players. And the Duelist is usually a lot better at this than me. He's usually a lot better about having a concise and good build. And he's kind of struggling here. He's going for T2 on the comm, but he can't afford it. He needs this to finish, and he is assisting it. And he probably needs to stop building power generators. He's producing almost 600 power on T1 P-gens alone. He's not even able to spend all of his power while also getting T2 and more factories built. It's just way, way too much mass invested in power. In fact, we can go ahead and select just this line of power. Just this line of power, which maybe he needs a little bit of this, but not all of it. Just this line of power is costing him 975 mass. That's a T2 mex right here. And over 10,000, and almost 10,000 energy. And I would say maybe right here he could have stopped and it would have been reasonable. And he's still looking at nearly a T2 mex worth of power generation that he just doesn't need. He is getting some T2 mexes, but he's behind the ball. He's not really doing well economically. He's trying to get T2 on the comm as Hot Soup is pressuring him. He doesn't have the units to protect himself, so he doesn't really have... He doesn't have a strong economy. He doesn't have a large amount of units or unit production that is significant enough to make up for his disadvantage at the moment. He's just behind. Just unequivocally behind of almost everybody in the game. The only player is doing slightly worse than him, I would argue, or maybe Staw is having a bit more harder time, but he also has more units on the field at the very least. He is going to finish T2, and that's a decent call. It does give you more map control, and if you're lacking unit production, map control is going to be something that's difficult. If you can set up a few of these Cerberus point defense and set up a little area of denial for your opposing units, you can get yourself in a strong position. But the Black Rabbit's already got T2 on his comm. He got it faster. He built a Cerberus up on this hill. It's a gray box, but we can see it's a Cerberus, so that's going to be a bit difficult for him to deal with. One thing I like that the Duelist has done is he has a pretty forward radar, so he does have good intel, and that's a pretty decent thing so far. He's still getting T2 mexes, which is pretty good. He's gonna need that. He needs to work on his economy because right now he can't play to be the spam player. You can't get a couple of T2 mexes and be behind on spam and then try and win the spam game. It just doesn't work that well. You need time more than anything, and you don't get that when you're just behind on units. Usually, when you're behind on units, you have to find a way to slow down the game. And he is admittedly going for things that slow down the game. I'd like to see him maybe even try and PD creep this position. It looks as though the opponents are having a bit of trouble with pinpointing the location of his Cerberus. Yes, they are indeed. So right now, I think the Duelist could fire on the opposing Cerberus. Unabated, currently firing into something or other. Don't even know what he's firing at. In fact, what was he firing at? Something. I'm really not sure. But he's now starting to fire on the opposing Cerberus that's within range, and he's just taking no counter damage, which is pretty good. Let's go ahead and look at the economies again. He just got T2 land. He needs to get out a engineer. I would say get out an engineer so you can get a T2 power and reclaim all of these P-gens. I mean, you can already start reclaiming some of these P-gens. You have 300 to 400 extra power generation. Like, your allies might be happy that you do have the extra power generation. Let's see, what's the energy income? Currently, if you sort by energy income, he doesn't even have the most power generation. How sad. He's really just struggling economically, and he doesn't have what generally you see when somebody struggles economically. He doesn't have a bunch of units to show for it, and his units are pushing here in the middle. He does have T2 on the comm, so if they can push off this position, it'll be good, but he has less units than almost everybody else on the map, and he's helping push. Right now, this is a lot of Pistachio's forces doing work for him. Pistachio is T2, Pistachio has a lot of these units out. He is spamming out some Vipers, but with this land push, the Vipers become a lot less useful. They're not going to be able to help break this fire base, so I see what he was thinking about with getting Vipers in the first place, and now he's swapped over to Rhinos. As a bit of a convoluted setup for producing land units. I'm guessing this is just something he goes for almost every time he has a land factory, but at T2, but seems a bit strange. Gonna get 2 more of these factories to T2. I'd like to see these T1 factories here start building engineers to go for the reclaim. In the middle, there's about 8,000 reclaim here on screen, and his team has solid control over it. So that's another thing you can be thinking about getting reclaim. Right now, it feels like this game is a lot of rust for the Duelist, and I know he's going to watch this, and I know down in the comments he's going to say whatever he wants to say, but this game just looks rusty. It looks like you didn't have a game plan coming in. You're about to go overflowing en masse. You didn't have a huge game plan coming in, which you kind of need, and you didn't have just any kind of plan before the game started, and that's what it seems like to me. You came into the game and you just kind of did things kind of on autopilot, but you're not thinking about it. Like, you weren't thinking about the fact that you built a fuck ton of power, a metric fuck ton of power, and you didn't have any plan for like half of this. You even right now, you could still argue that he doesn't need half of the power that he has. So it's just a bit strange. Also, as far as things go, you're getting 2 of these factories to T2, but the other factories are idle. It's still even useful to build Medusa. Medusa are a great T1 unit, and they have that EMP effect. That's useful even in later tier armies, in my opinion. You're not ecoing as fast as almost anybody else on the map. You have the second lowest eco on the map as far as mass generation goes, and mass generation much more important than power generation, because it's much easier to spam up something to fix your power grid than it is to spam up a bunch of mass extractors when you have none. He has 6 T2 engineers. These are idle. This is a mistake I can forgive because he's working on something else. He's here on the front. He's trying to firebase. He's getting stealth. He's trying to fight off the firebase that the Black Rabbit has sent back to this area, and he's trying to work with Pistachios to gain some territory. But this is just going to be, like, he needs to hold on to this position and get more reclaim going on here. He does have an engineer out here reclaiming. As I said, I'd like to see more. I don't know why these 2 mass extractors aren't taken. You've had control of this area for a little while. Just build them. T1 engineer is literally right on top of it, and not doing it is a bit strange. He gets all of the engineers to go work on a T2 P-Gen. Now, here's the key. He desperately needs to start reclaiming these, like right now. T2 P-Gen's pretty much done. Reclaim all this T1 power, because you don't need it. Up here to the north, another thing that you want to keep your eye on, and another thing that you generally want to do while you're playing, is try and just get a gauge of how your closest allies are doing. Don't be worrying about what your air player is doing unless you're really high rated. Don't be worrying about other people. Just worry about what will affect you. Right now, he can very clearly see that behind you is making a mistake and about to die. I don't know if this game is full share personally. I haven't even watched the game. This is all just off the top of my head. But he should be pinging like mad. Just come up here. Oh, nope. Come up here. If you don't know the hotkeys, it's F5 through F8, I think, or F9. And ping like mad. Tell your teammate to go into the water, because behind you, I know he's a lower rated player at 600. He was just making a 4 IQ play of, oh, I need to run away. I'll run directly away. He didn't, like, take a second to realize that he could just run into the water and he won't die. And now that he's dead, it's not full share, but the Duelist could have prevented that death and kept this going well. Kept this flank at least not necessarily completely collapsing. He now has T2 production on multiple facilities. He has another one of his support factories going to T2. He has the T2 land to try and hold off the land spam coming out from Longshot. But now the onus is on him. He needs to get over here, and he needs to send some of these T2 engineers to start retaking this area. You have how many T2 engineers? You have too many T2 engineers to begin with. I keep on tabbing out of the game, and I don't know why I'm doing that. It's just I'm trying to click on things over here in the bottom, on the left-hand side, and I click off. But he has 9 T2 engineers, one of which is idle. Take off at least 4 of these. These just zoom in, double click. You have 4 or 5 T2 engineers. Get them over here and get them building you a base. You can build Cerberus. Cerberus are still perfectly fine in this game. Cerberus suck as a point defense, but they are a stopgap, and you do not have 2 or 3 players worth of units, and you just won't very quickly. And you're being attacked by Blue, White, and Hot Soup, who is red. Hot Soup's the only one I remember the name of because Hot Soup, I like Hot Soup. He's also a cool content creator. Go check him out on Twitch. But with that shill out of the way, also check out The Duelist. Both Hot Soup and The Duelist will have a link down below. If I remember, if I don't, yell at me and I'll get one, okay? Okay. But you're not going to have enough units to fight this off. Luckily, Pistachios has realized this and decided, oh, right, we kind of need this area. If we're just down like the 7 or 8 mexes up here, we kind of just lose. And he's realized that, and he's sent his units forward. And also, I'm sure he made a decision, and you can say whether this is the right or wrong decision. You can debate it any day of the week. I don't criticize personally people who make a decision that you could argue either way. And right now, the argument for getting his units up here is I can help the Duelist reclaim this area, or maybe he wants to take it himself with the transport. That's what he's thinking, and you can see the thought process. What I don't get is when people don't have a thought process. The Duelist right now, I honestly don't know if he has a plan at the moment, and that's a lot of this game. Having a plan and knowing what you want to do in the next couple of minutes, or even in the next 60 seconds or 30 seconds. What do you want done in 30 seconds? Keep asking yourself that. What do I want done in a minute? What do I want done in 5 minutes? What is the goal? If you're just blindly flailing around, it's not going to help you. Right now, if I were the Duelist, I'm going to slow this down a bit to talk about this, because I do want to talk about it. I would be coming up with a plan, coming up with a goal. My goal would be, in 5 minutes, I want all of these mass extractors that Pistachios doesn't take before me to be taken. I would be getting at least one of these factories, especially this idle one, getting engineers and sending them over here. Engineers are the lifeblood of your economy. Engineers build everything that makes you more money. It's always good to have engineers. They can always reclaim if you have too many. You can't physically have too many engineers because of how fucking useful they are. So get more engineers, Duelist. Do it. You're better than this. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed because you can do so much better. But with that out of the way, talking about the plan. The Duelist right now, I don't think he has a plan because he's not focusing on eco. He's not focusing on having superior unit production. He's not focusing on getting a technological advantage. He's not focusing on anything. It just seems like he's trying to do everything, and he's doing everything kind of shittily. Choose something and do it, especially in team games. I know the Duelist plays a lot of ladder, so it's better to do everything just kind of shit in ladder than it is to be really good at one thing. Choose something. Don't be sitting here getting T2 air while you have T2 land when you can't even afford the T2 land. Choose one or the other and do it. It's fine to have the air. I like having the T1 air factory because I like scouting, and having scouts is good. Speaking of which, he's done a very good job. He's always having a pretty decent radar. Right now he doesn't, but that's forgivable. He's had his radar killed on the front lines. He keeps building it there because he wants vision. He wants intel as far away back as possible. But you don't have a plan, the Duelist. And as the Joker, I love the Joker. You all seen the Joker from The Dark Knight, Heath Ledger? Yeah. You know how he's talking about schemers? Well, FAFers are schemers. We're not good with chaos. Numbers and scheming. You have to have a plan. You can't just introduce chaos because when you do, you generally lose. Introducing chaos is something like a comm drop, and those generally they're a low chance of success most of the time, or snipes, and you don't see snipes as much at the higher level because it's pretty easy to deal with a snipe as long as you scout that it's coming. So overall, the Duelist needs a plan, and he doesn't have one. Right now, his plan seems to be get a little bit of everything and do nothing well, and that's not a plan. He's just doing everything. He's getting more T2 engineers, but he's not sending any of these massive amount of T2 engineers over here to do things. Anything. He has T2 engineers right here building T2 mexes, which, good. But that should be his. He should have already had that. I'm sure it got killed by one of the run-bys, but still. He's not even holding the flank where he's trying to expand to. And if he isn't taking this as a priority, if he isn't taking the core mexes and the nearby mexes that used to belong to behind you as a priority, if that's not priority almost number one, other than not die, the priorities right now are not die, have enough units, and get that base. After that, everything fucking else, tacking up, eco, all that shit, fuck that. Not die, get enough units to not die, because you can not die without units and you can just let your base fall apart. Keep your base intact. And then get more territory. You have to play like you need to carry these games if you want to win. And what do you do to carry team games? You fucking come out here, you reclaim and take over territory that your teammates fucked up with. Behind you was blaming his team in chat. He was a salty asshole over here not doing shit. Yeah, fuck him. Carry his ass and show him how you should play the game. Alright? Behind you, if you're watching this, and anybody who's watching, don't go flame him. It's just an example. I'm not here to breed negativity, but I am here to get my point across, and negativity is really good at fucking doing that, okay? So, have a plan. Me and my inane ramblings are done. I didn't have a plan for this video, and that's why it's shit. My plan would be T3 land. I would never have fucked with getting T2 air. He's going T3 air, but I don't know if that's a conscious choice or not. Because, of course it's a choice, but I think that's reverting to type. He always goes for air in almost every game he plays. I always see him go for air, and that's just preference. But you have to ask yourself what would be better right now, because your team is kind of just losing on the ground front. Air does not win you ground. My plan, T3 land, get up some loyalists or bricks. Loyalists would still be good because you can definitely get to T3 land before some of your opponents. And my plan would also involve ecoing like a fucking madman, because right now your team is already behind on the land war. Your team is already behind on everything else. You need to get ahead economically to pull yourself out of this, because I don't care how efficient you think you are, you're not going to get efficient enough trades to just be down by 50 or 60 mass a second whenever there's only about 500 mass in the game, mass a second in the game in total. And his team is just down. What the hell happened? Oh, that's dirty. When did this happen? At some point, Longshot decided to give all of his base over to Hot Soup. And that's why Hot Soup is sitting at 138 mass a second. Which, admittedly, I mean, I guess I get it. Longshot feels not confident in playing out the game and wants to win. But if you want to win and get more confident with your play, you need to fucking play. You need to fucking do it. Repetition is a great fucking teacher. Losing is a great teacher if you learn from it. And right now, it really feels like the Duelist is just going to lose because his flank is being held mainly by Pistachio, and I don't think Pistachio is interested in continuing to hold a flank that isn't his and he's not benefiting from. Admittedly, there's these mexes now going up. It's taken quite a while, and I need to speed the game back up to normal speed. In fact, we'll go a little bit faster until some action happens. Now, this, of course, I'm not here to give any advice to anybody else, but one thing you can do is you can zoom out, you can look at the map, you can see what's going on, you can see, oh, there's a lot of pressure going on right here. Cool, cool. Maybe that'll draw some pressure away and just try and get a idea. Try and predict what's going to happen in the next 30 seconds to a minute. Try and get an idea of what is going to happen very soon and prepare for it. You have to think ahead. Thinking ahead is like the key to doing well in this game. And I'm honestly bad at it. I don't practice what I preach here. I know how you get wins. I'm not good at winning. I'm not good at the game. I'm definitely one of those teachers who teach because they can't do. But overall, right now, you just have to step back and look at the game state and decide, do I need to eco? Do I need to tech up and get units? Do I just need units in general? And focus on that thing. And right now, I think the Duelist could be helped a lot by doing a little bit more eco. He's at almost 200 mass a second. Or maybe not. I don't know. It's a bit strange. I don't know why the mass income will fluctuate like this. Like, why is the mass income fluctuating right now? There's no power issues. It just seems weird. Anybody else notice this in your games where the mass will fluctuate randomly? I don't know. I'm just being weird, apparently. He's getting a fuck ton of reclaim, which, admittedly, fucking good on him. He's getting the reclaim even though he hasn't been doing all of the things I've been saying, like, hey, get a bunch of engineers out for reclaim. He's only had 1 or 2 engineers reclaiming at any given time, but it seems like he's the only person in the game other than Hot Soup who's really realizes that reclaim's a thing. All these other players, they're getting reclaim, but they're not making it as much of a priority as it should be. So, he's doing a bit better. I think since he's gotten into the late game, he's gotten his bearing a little bit more. And in the late game, a lot of players do pretty well in the late game. Since he's getting here, he's able to kind of do what his game plan is. He knows how to win from a position that's later in the game pretty easily. He doesn't necessarily, but you need a plan to get to this point of the game. If this is where you're comfortable in the game, you need a plan to make sure you get here consistently. And I'm pretty sure Duelist is pretty comfortable here. He's not a super early game focused person. He doesn't generally go for the gun push that kills a bunch of comms, and he doesn't generally go for just the massive spam. He usually ecos a little bit harder. He plays more of an eco style, which is fine. But you need to have a plan before you even get into the game. He doesn't have one. I'm done saying the word plan because I have to go ahead and record like 2 more replay reviews right after this. By the way, stay tuned for those. And I'm probably going to hit that point again. Let's talk about ecoing. He's at 123 mass a second. I think that if he does seem to be focusing on it, and I do like this. So I didn't point it out because I was too busy talking about Joker and Heath Ledger, but he went for a T3 mass extractor when he realized he had about 8,000 mass in storage for the first one. That's a good call. If you have over 4,600 mass in storage, which is just a number you should know 900 and, what is it? It's 900 and some odd. Here we go, we have a T1 max. 900 mass exactly for T2, and 4,600 for T3. You should know those numbers. If you see 900 mass in your storage, and you have a T1 mech, go get that motherfucker to T2. And if you see 4,600 and you're like, I don't know what to spend it on, go assist upgrade a T3 mech. And now he's going for a spider. He has T3 air now. I don't know if he's done scouting. I haven't been paying too much attention. The next time he scouts, Hot Soup is built in experimental. His ally is also built in experimental, a fat boy down here. So the question is, what was the experimental Hot Soup is built, and will the Duelist see it? Hot Soup's probably going to send it towards the Duelist, and the Duelist does get a nice push off right here. It's a Monkey Lord. He does get a nice push right here, but you have to ask what the push is going to achieve, because he moved forward. He got into the production of Hot Soup, the land production of this T1 stuff, and the question is, at what cost? Because it cost him his entire T2 force. And that's fine, but it's kind of unfortunate. He saw the monkey. He needs to keep the monkey in mind. Probably needs to run his comm away. He's seen the monkey, I would guess, multiple times. Because I know he's been building T3 air and building a lot of scouts, and he also has a strat bomber, so he's thinking about what he can strat bomb. I'd be surprised if they haven't looked at the monkey multiple times, and I'm not going to catch everything. He has his own monkey now, so that means that the time period where the monkey could be an issue is over. Is that the Monkey Lord? I thought the Monkey Lord had... The Monkey Lord should have stealth! Why is this Monkey Lord not stealth? Soup, did you turn off the stealth? Can you turn off the stealth? Dude, I don't know. Can you turn off the stealth on a Monkey Lord? And why would you? Why would you? I guess you could if you want the 400 power, but, like, a bit strange. The Monkey Lord for Duelist deciding to move forward now. He's pushing forward. He doesn't know where the enemy Monkey Lord is. And with this scouting wave, and with not seeing it in the south, there's only so many places it could be. And I know that it's hard, but you have to be thinking, where'd the Monkey Lord go? He doesn't see it anywhere. There's a lot of air coverage. There's a good possibility it's in the water over here. Now, does that mean keep your Monkey Lord over here and wait for it? No, I like the idea. I like this. I like, let's push forward and use the Monkey Lord to kill off all this stuff. Hot Soup yells charge. Down here in the south, he sees his allies are making ground on Zasnoba. If he can get in and damage Hot Soup in any way, it probably secures the game as long as his team doesn't get just absolutely blindsided by something. Which a Monkey Lord in the water over here definitely could blindside you. And it's gonna be a surprise for the Duelist to be sure. Let's see what his response is. He has T3 air and he has a lot of assistance on it. Why he's still making ASF instead of like going for anything really, like going for some kind of defense against a Monkey Lord is strange to me. I just don't know what he thought happened to the Monkey Lord. Wait! Are you kidding me? Hot Soup, did you fucking... Hot Soup has put the Monkey Lord onto hold fire in a hopes that the Duelist doesn't see it. And admittedly, it looks like the Duelist didn't see it. The Duelist is pushing forward with his Monkey Lord over here on the northern side. He's going to get a lot of damage done. He's going to kill off T3 mexes. The enemy Monkey Lord is now in his base. At a certain point, you need to it's still on hold fire for some strange reason. Okay, it leaves hold fire in the middle of the Duelist base. This is a cheeky play. A Hot Soup, really? Really? This shit? Oh my god, this is dirty. In the south, the Hot Soup's team has capitulated. So the Duelist probably, at this point, this doesn't matter so much. Your teammate has like a bazillion broadswords. This is gonna die. You don't have to stress about this. You have 3 Strat Bombers. You have a Monkey Lord. Go deal damage. Send your Strat Bombers out on a Shift G to just blow up some mexes. Kill off as much economy as you can. In the south, this game is over. Hot Soup doesn't come back from this. I know Hot Soup. I know how he plays. He's not no 1900. He doesn't just have the answer here. The Black Rabbit died to a fat boy. Star SM... Longshot's been defeated by Star? Oh, that was the white com. Star SM kills that. And then over here, broadswords are going to kill Hot Soup. Yep. That's the end. So, main takeaways. Before you start the game, you should have a plan. You should think ahead. Try and think about what you want to happen in the next 5 minutes. The ideal situation, it won't ever go to that plan unless you're playing dual gap and people don't pressure each other. Think about the next 5 minutes. In the next, or if that's too hard, think about the next 30 seconds or the next minute. It'll help you out a lot with what you're doing in the game, and at least I have found that it's helped me out a lot with learning what it takes to win. Other than that, your intel was decent. You were kind of just slow this game, slower than you normally are, the Duelist. And for anybody who feels that they're slow, and I think the reason Duelist was slow is rust, one thing that'll speed you up is, of course, the planning I was talking about. It speeds you up a lot if you already know what you're going to do, because a lot of the time whenever you're slowing down, you're trying to think about what to do next, and no, thinking is bad. Don't think. You just want to do. And to be able to just do, you have to have a plan, and you only have to think about your plan every once in a little while. And maybe people will be like, oh, that's stupid, you should be thinking all the time. But whenever I think and try and think about what's gonna, think constantly, I slow down because I'm not just doing. A lot of this needs to be reaction and reflex. Other than the planning thing, playing games more. You need to play more games to be faster. And as I said, this felt slow. It felt like he started doing his upgrades slow. It felt like... Oh, also this power shit, stop doing this. I do it too. I need to stop doing it. I know I'm a hypocrite on this. Stop just getting way too fucking much power. Like, or at least reclaim it. The fact that these aren't reclaimed is kind of horrifying. I get yelled at about this all the time by better players in my YouTube chat, but still. That's going to do it. Thank you to the Patreons. Thank you to the Duelist for both being a channel member and a Patreon. You can get your own replay review by doing that down below. I can yell at you, or if you're much better than me, I can just make a funny video about you like I did with Icy Nightmare. And, yeah. Like, subscribe, comment. Bye-bye.